Okay everyone, smile. It's time to focus in on another episode of the Four-Kolor Kitty. Oh shoot, you had your eyes closed. Oh well, welcome to Four-Kolor Kitty. I'm your host once again, Patcho Black, the guy in the nifty vest. And this time we'll be looking at one James Bartholomew Olsen, better known as Jimmy Olsen, photographer and later reporter, and best known as Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. The character of Jimmy Olsen wasn't, in fact, originally part of the cast in the Superman comics. There was an office boy in the early years, but he was unnamed and, aside from his choice of neckwear, doesn't much resemble him. It was in April of 1940 that a young boy by the name of Jimmy Olsen joined the cast of characters on the Superman radio program. He was first played by Jackie Clean, later by Jack Grims. His role was so that Clark Kent had someone to talk to when he had to provide exposition. Well, let's face it. Lois was too busy either being his rival or ignoring Clark for being so mild-mannered, or was in need of rescuing, so she wasn't going to be someone he could talk to all the time. Then there was Perry White, but he was his boss, so that would have made for some rather awkward conversations. However, an eager cub reporter and photographer who would always be there, be willing to listen, and would be just right for having things explained to him? Perfect! So, a couple years later, Jimmy Olsen began appearing in the comics, starting with Superman number 13. However, he was only known as Jimmy when he first arrived. It would take 2 more issues before he was blessed with a last name. It was history in the making. Now, one would think that having the Man of Steel as a buddy would be all songs and roses, but there are some downsides. Of course, the most obvious is that, since old Kal-El is so darn difficult to hurt, let alone kill, occasionally some genius criminal decides to do the old get revenge by hurt those that he cares about stick. But I won't be looking at that sort of trouble. I'm talking about how one becomes a magnet for weirdness. For instance, ever since Big Blue came into young Jimmy's life, he's had to put up with one bizarre change after another. Let's start with a classic, the old mind swap. In this case, with a gorilla. Of course, what would any of us do if we switched minds with an ape? Why, we would buy large-sized versions of our favorite outfit and go back to work. Never mind, checking into a hospital or getting the scientists who invented the mind swap ray to undo the damage. Another notable change was when the red-headed scamp drank a special serum and gained the ability to stretch his body to fantastic lengths. Thus began the on-again, off-again superhero career of Elastic Lad. In his time as a second-rate plastic man, he did his best, but, well, let's face it, if you're going to be seen next to Superman, you better be really good at the rubber band thing. He did, however, manage to become a reserve member of the Legion of Superheroes, which is not shabby at all. There were a series of monstrous changes for Jimmy as well. He turned into a wolfman not once, but twice. Due to jealous aliens, he became a human balloon. Yet another time, a scientist from Jupiter turned him into an alien. He gained 6 arms, becoming a human octopus. Don't tell Marvel Comics. And he even turned himself into a human porcupine, for goodness sake. But the most famous of all of these was Giant Turtle Man Jimmy Olsen. Oh, how this one would continue to haunt the character, much to the amusement of longtime followers of his misadventures. I mean, honestly, can you just see the meeting where they came up with this one? The DC bullpen sitting around thinking about what the next story for Jimmy Olsen could be? Could it be perhaps aiding Superman by following up on a lead he can't? Perhaps he takes some picture that contains an important clue for solving a crime that he didn't realize he had captured. No, wait! What we need is a giant turtle man! And they got paid for this kind of thinking, folks. Jimmy Olsen has gone on to several more changes over the years. So many, in fact, that they actually released a collection of said comics. The Amazing Transformations of Jimmy Olsen. The cover art shows a good assortment of Jimmy's various changes. Of course, Jimmy's greatest transformation occurred, not because of weird science or magic totem, but at the hands of modern writers. He has gone from that background comic relief to a well-rounded, helpful, and pretty darn competent member of the Daily Planet staff. Sure, occasionally he finds himself sprouting a tail or something, but hey, that's the price you pay when you're Superman's pal. Well, that wraps up another episode. Remember, if you have a suggestion or question that we could use for a future story, please let us know. Until then, this is Pastor Black for Four-Kolor Kitty, and I'll be seeing you in the funny pages.